Salvador Felipe Jacinto Dalí y Dominic. He was a Spanish painter, sculptor, engraver, set designer, and writer of the 20th century. He is considered one of the greatest representatives of Surrealism. François-Auguste-René Rodin. He was a French sculptor, considered the father of modern sculpture. His importance is due to the break with the academic canon that prevailed in the 19th century in France. The foregoing does not mean that the artist did not know or master the rules of the aesthetics of his time, but rather that his conception of art allowed him to inaugurate a new stage in the field of sculpture. Wisant decided to join 5 other civic leaders who agreed to sacrifice their own lives in 1347 to liberate the city of Calais from English occupation. The tilt of the head expresses a poignant anguish. Its monumental size and lack of a body amplified the agony with an almost unbearable intensity. With this work, Rodin moved away from neoclassical art for the sake of a more realistic response. The powerful symbolic charge reflected the writings of the philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau that led him to want to capture the first inhabitant of the world. The critic Alexandre Arsène wrote, "The angel has fallen to earth, thrown from heaven. He is battered and panting, but a being has approached him. It is the earth who receives him and who strives to console him." From the drawers come fabrics that symbolize, according to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis, our most intimate and disturbing secrets. The empty spaces do not suggest anything. They are rather a window to the interior. The sphere, the perfect figure for Dalí, symbolizes the apple that led the physicist to the universal postulate. The scientist Michio Kaku, on a visit to the Sumaya Museum, warned of the challenge to gravity and the automation of time. This sculpture of the self-proclaimed genius of art is exhibited for the first time. The head is covered with flowers, a symbol of love and freedom. The rhino horn gives it a fantastic character. Crutches, which allude to supporting reality, support a fragmented and unreal body. The composition of this work is both elegant and captivating. The young man's left arm visually balances his partner's kneeling legs and forms an X. Dalí represents with a delicate gesture the female figure in ecstasy. The body is divided into drawers. The pelvic drawer is more open than the others, an allegory of the contained desires that unleash the inner fire with a gesture that drives away otherness. The crutch anchors the woman with reality. There is nothing more stimulating than the idea of an angel, Dalí expressed. The messenger of God blows the trumpet, which goes to heaven while opening the way to divine contemplation. The vanguard sculpture shows the opposing pairs that complement each other, a foot in the world and the drive to fly. The desperation of a man who decides to sacrifice his life to save his country is expressed through the look and the tension of the body. With this work, Rodin introduced the modern hero, one deeply human, and shows his fear before his bravery. The head, hip, pelvis, and legs of this body are fractured. According to researcher George Grapp, Rodin worked in the morgue to achieve unlikely positions. The young woman is part of the project The Door of Hell that is exhibited in the Sumaya Museum. Time was a constant obsession in the artist's mind. It fades and cannot be stopped. The soft watches were born from the idea of a melted cheese. Time and space merge into a phase that marks the end of the day and the beginning of the night. A door in different dimensions. In this sculpture, the artist managed to make the figure of Christ gravitate by removing the cross and letting the Eternal Father hold it. According to the paranoid critical method, the vertical base evokes a nail that melts on the rocks of Calvary. We can all reflect on his face. Rodin's plastic exploration, influenced by the discovery of archaeological sites, led him to strip the figure of arms and head, resulting in an almost abstract work. In an elaboration of the form in its purity, the bust does not fail to express great vitality. The Space Venus combines the classical nude form of the Roman goddess of love and fertility, Venus, with her characteristic surrealist style, incorporating elements such as his melted clogs on her neck and insects on her abdomen and the golden egg resting on the uterus area. It was conceived by DALI in 1977 and was made for the first time in lost wax casting in 1984 with a height of 124 centimeters. The work, valued at $2.8 million, was scheduled to be exhibited publicly in Vancouver until 2020, on loan from the Society of the Salvador Dalí Foundation. The gallery owner discovered the egg was missing on the morning of Sunday, June 23, 2019.